Alright, well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Astro Psych 400. I am your host, Ned from West Virginia, and tonight I'm going to be drinking some good old-fashioned ginger ale, the Great Value Walmart kind. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking all about the zodiac star sign Libra. This is part of an ongoing series that has a video for each of the zodiac star signs. So if you haven't heard any of the previous episodes, that's fine. You can keep listening. But I will hope that you'll check out one for each one of the zodiac signs in the future. And you can always like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. So today, talking about Libra, I'm going to give us an introduction that comes from Labyrinthos. I can never pronounce their name because I don't know how. But it's Labyrinth OS, maybe? Labyrinth OS, I think that's the easiest way to say it. The Libra sign is represented by the scales of justice. Those who fall under the Libra sign seek balance above all. A Libra is someone who is born from September 23rd to October 22nd, and like all of these things, with astrology, it's give or take a day. Libra is represented by the scales. Their duality is active. Their element is air, and their quality is cardinal. The ruling planet is Venus, and their tarot card is justice. I mean, as far as tarot cards, I'm not really into that. I think that they can be somewhat entertaining, but when I talk about astrology on this series, I'm not even so much getting into the stars have this power that they can send you, or the alignment of the stars on the day of your birth affects your mood, your temperament, your sexuality. Instead, I think it's more about how the changes in the seasons in relation to the date of your birth can affect those things. Personality, temperament, sexuality, that stuff, I think, might have a bigger chance of being real. Libra sign and personality. People born under the sign of Libra are often seen as being indecisive, but if you try and understand them more deeply, you'll see that this is a false judgment. I think it's so interesting to hear that. The first word that they use to describe a Libra is indecisive because I am a Gemini, and when I did the Gemini recording on this channel, I found that that's what they're trying to do to describe Geminis. They're trying to refer to them as indecisive. So I'm like, well, where's this really coming from? I mean, although the bigger reason, I think I can answer that. Where's it coming from? It's just short of 6 months, right? From like the beginning of Gemini, so we're talking about the end of May to the um to the bulk of October, the end of September to October 22nd. Not quite 6 months. It's more like 5 months, really. There might be something in there because talking about changes in the seasons, I mean, you're going through the solstice and the equinox. People born under the sign of Libra are often seen as being indecisive, but if you try and understand them more deeply, you'll see that this is a false judgment. They simply like to weigh the best options. Well, weighing the best options, are you're talking about Libra, the scales. I mean, that's more about, that sounds like the very definition of being indecisive. Well, should I do this or should I do that? Lets me think, I don't know. Okay, I mean, yeah, you're weighing the options, but that's what being indecisive is, more or less. And unless you're going to say that they're indecisive for a little bit, and then they can become decisive later on, when they do make decisions, you can be assured that these decisions will give the best results for all parties involved. That's still kind of indecisive, because you have to be indecisive for a while for that to work. Those born under this sign are extremely diplomatic and fair, and they hate to see others unhappy around them due to unequal circumstances. Absolutely, yes, I could not agree more. I have a family member who is a Libra, especially the thing about trying to help other people during certain circumstances, not wanting to see people unhappy. Yes, yes, yes. Boom, hits the nail on the head. It is not so much that they are doing this for selfish and manipulative reasons, but rather because they are seeking to create unity. Harmony is a word that is very important to this sign. And speaking of that family member who is a Libra, one day I came home from work and I was complaining about my coworkers, like blah 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 this, blah blah that, and my family member who's a Libra said, "Your coworkers don't sound very harmonious." The exact words. So it's like something is programmed in the brain that to think that coworkers should be harmonious or that is something that is a good thing to have. Because I will tell you flat out, I'm not a Libra, and harmony, not always. I mean, the way that I sort of approach things is if something is harmonious and it's moral and ethical, if it's like spiritually good, all right, then you can be harmonious with that. If something is harmonious but it's immoral, unethical, bad, evil, you don't want to be harmonious with that. You want to either, some people think you should fight, or a better way to go about it would be to just absolve whatever issue or problem that you have. Like these things, like say unfairness, for example. Well, then you could correct your situation in a way that would not require the use of physical force or even the use of an intense conflict. Many Libra zodiac signs love physical exercise and tend to gravitate towards running and marathons. Well, I'm a Gemini and I hate running, so maybe there's some 5 month difference once you get to Libra. Meditation can be a great thing for the zodiac sign to do as well, as it helps create a space where they can make decisions and contemplate without interruptions. They will spend much of their time trying to establish an equilibrium between themselves and everything else. I think everything that I read on this Labyrinth OS site is talking all about balance because Libra is the scales. Like when I was younger, the way I used to do Libra was like, that's the way it would be like, the scales of Libra. But it's a little bit hard to do that all the time, especially in adulthood. Isn't it weird how life works out like that? So I think that everything they were saying is Libra is the star sign for the scales, for balance of some sort. But I'm actually going to go over to a different website because I'm really quite curious what different sites have to say about all of these things with astrology. And this one is called HelloGiggles.com. Could you have a more adorable name? Yeah, you probably could. Hello Puppy Giggles or something. I didn't even think of Hello Kitty Giggles because that is so far removed from being adorable. But I always like to use new sites during these discussions, ones that I haven't used previously. Everything you need to know about the zodiac sign Libra. A Libra is the most fair, most balanced, and most relationship oriented sign. Fair? Balanced? Okay, gosh, why are they using those adjectives? Fox News or something. Sean Hannity is probably dancing in his grave right now, except for the fact that he's not dead. Why on earth would they say fair, balanced, relationship oriented? How do those three things go together? During these discussions on Astro Psych 400, I try to talk about astrology in the big five personality traits: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Agreeableness is a pair bonding trait, and I don't mean in the Jane Austen sense that he was agreeable and he was disagreeable. No, not like the unpleasant person at a party, although that is some of it. Mostly agreeing to go along with things. Agreeableness is a pair bonding trait because it is about empathy. It is about how other people feel and responding to how other people feel. And in a person to person interaction with two people, agreeableness is very valuable. And it's even possible that people who are high in trait agreeableness desire intimate partners more so than platonic friendships. So, talking about balance, harmony, trying to be fair, these are things that are they're very important to a romantic partnership for a couple reasons. But in friendships, especially when you have multiple friendships, mostly I think because friendships aren't purely exclusive, then you can see how an agreeable person can be taken advantage of. Or all these benefits, like that strong feeling of intimacy, is not going to be present in a platonic friendship. And the agreeable person is going to feel that they are taken advantage of. And first, they're going to be agreeable. Then they're going to be First, they're going to be agreeable. Then they will feel underappreciated. Next, they will feel resentful. And ultimately, that person will just end up terminating the relationship. It's a big cycle. How do I know all this? Because I am also a very agreeable person, even though I'm not a Libra. But in terms of the big five personality traits, my highest one is definitely agreeableness. So you really learn a lot about psychology. Now, no matter what, If Libras are going to be more inclined to seek balance, then they're going to be high in trait agreeableness, because that's all about balance. If someone is extroverted, for example, that's going to be, I talk about this, I talk about that, talk about this, talk about that. Where's the balance? What? Something on Hello Giggles just said that I have to subscribe to keep reading. Screw that. I have to subscribe to keep reading to HelloGiggles.com. Okay, looks like I got the article back, but let's keep going here. It's no coincidence that Libra season is at the beginning of fall, while Virgo season was about buckling down, because being productive and getting shit done via Sun entering Libra symbolizes a more laid back, lighter shift in your day to day routine and mood. During the Virgo episode on this channel, Astro Psych 400, I said very clearly that a Virgo is someone who can be somewhat of a troublemaker, someone who can be a rule bender, pushing back against the boundaries, but not to the breaking point, pushing back to the almost breaking point, making trouble without getting fired, trying to get away with some things without getting caught. And then what's going to happen after that? Balance. Someone who's going to be less of a rule bender. As the temperature gets cooler, you'll be inclined to curl up on the couch with a PSL. PSL? Person suitable for a living, maybe? What's a PSL? And a loved one by your side. You'll also prioritize time spent with your friends and family, safely, of course. If you're a single Libra, you may be inclined to start swiping on some dating sites during this time, as Libra is the most romantic sign. What was I saying? Agreeableness, pair bonding traits, seeking intimacy, those intense feelings, all because of this same model. It's all coming together. High in trait agreeableness is leading to make these types of decisions. Libras are going to be high in trait agreeableness, talking all about the most romantic of them all. And I also mentioned this in a previous episode once back when I was learning languages, and I had this textbook that said, if your favorite season is the fall, then you are a romantic person, because they're talking about, it's all about sensuality and feeling. And I think it's just that, because it's getting colder, you want to spend more time inside. The changes in the seasons affect the way that you're thinking, especially if your birthday is in one of these months, because you look forward to it or you dread it. It affects your psychology. Whether or not a Libra is your zodiac sign, the season is all about restoring balance and harmony to our stressful lives. Pair bonding, agreeableness. Take this time to do some much needed introspection and ask yourself a few questions. What do you want romantically? Take a guess. How can you help do your part to propel social justice forward? And that's when I stopped reading this article. Screw you, Hello Giggles. I think that's about to get, we'll just go down in a direction that we don't want to go down right now. Instead, I'm going to jump over to a different article from thesun.com. Balancing Act. Libra star sign. Horoscope dates, meaning, and traits. And this is written by Hannah Carter. Libra is the seventh astrological sign in the zodiac, representing air, in which life is at a balance. If you know a person with this star sign, they are known to be peaceful while enjoying keeping their brain stimulated with books, discussion, and fighting for justice. There's that social justice, fighting for justice. Of course, right? The scale sign. But there's something that doesn't seem to be quite understood by all of these astrological websites, talking about how, all right, Libra has the scales. Libra has the scales, and so does Lady Justice, or whatever her name is. You know, Justice is blind. She's like holding a sword in the scales. Well, here's something that's very important to remember. Justice isn't always about fairness. Justice is only halfway about fairness. Because I think that is true with Lady Justice, right? She's holding the scales and, and the sword. Those two things, and she has a blindfold over her eyes. Because the sword, maybe I'm completely off here, but I think that has something to do with punishment. Justice isn't only about being fair, it's also about punishing people. Harmony is only half of the equation when they're talking about it's kind of like yin and yang almost. Like if there's an up, there is a down. If there is a dark, then there is a light. But if there is this balancing act that can also be partnered with the sword that's going to cut off your head, hey, you did something bad, unfair, now you die. And I'm not going to lie, with the Libras that I've known, there tends to be a little bit more of the sword than the scales. Internally, thinking about the concept of fairness, absolutely. But in terms of things that exist outside of the human brain, there's a lot of that swordplay, and there's a little bit of using their actions as a form of punishment. There's a little bit more of a domineering executioner style going on. The dates of Libra are between September 23rd and October 23rd. As we said, always give or take a day with astrology. The zodiac, which has been the symbol of this zodiac sign, which has been the symbol of balance scales, is an air sign. You are ruled by Venus, the planet of love and femininity. Love, femininity. Think about some of these other things that we've been talking about, such as it's a good time for being introspective and curling up on the couch and looking at dating sites. Remember that part of the episode? Dr. Helen Fisher composed something called The Anatomy of Love, which talks about how there are four governing components of brain chemistry: dopamine, serotonin, testosterone, and estrogen. I mean, dopamine is more about your own personal individual excitement. Serotonin is more about sociable qualities, feeling good socially. Testosterone, estrogen speak for themselves. I mean, I did this when I was thinking of testosterone. I don't think that was an accident or something. I think that was a Freudian slip, or there's a reason for that. But estrogen seems like the governing component of brain chemistry in this one, because the way the anatomy of love functions is each of these components has different characteristics. Meaning, like, if you're a dopamine centered person, which I am, your idea of a good time is sitting at home in your sweatpants eating ice cream. If you're a serotonin centered person, your idea of a good time is doing the exact same thing, but with 6 friends. And testosterone, estrogen, you can kind of get the idea. Testosterone is, of course, going to be things that are conventionally masculine, but interestingly, one that is noted in the anatomy of love is assertiveness. With testosterone, what would be partnered with estrogen? Introspection. It's always the first one that comes up. So it sounds like we have lots of agreeableness in the Libra sign and lots of estrogen-centered living. And I would love to hear any responses from any of the men out there. But I mean, even if you want to get rid of the word estrogen, it doesn't mean that you have a high estrogen level. It just means that that component of your neurochemistry is the guiding force for your decisions. But I would be curious, if you're a male Libra, how do you respond to any of these things? Are you a harmonious person? Are you a thoughtful, introspective person? Are you someone who is going to be more of a peacemaker? Because, like, peacemaking is heavily connected to agreeableness, and I couldn't quite comprehend it to begin with. I mean, I'm an agreeable person. I'm a pro world peace all day, every day. I don't even want to experience emotions like anger and sadness, just mental purity all day long. Why? Because it's all about empathy. It's also all about creating that harmonious aspect where you want to alleviate the conflict. Pair bonding. If someone has a problem with you, you want to solve the problem because you understand how they feel and how it's affecting them. Whereas someone who is disagreeable does not comprehend that. It's just not even on their radar. They're extremely low in agreeableness. They're going to be a sociopathic serial killer, but you won't know it because serial killers are pretty good at wearing masks. Let's keep going here with the Libra discussion. The zodiac, which has the symbol of the balance scales. Yeah, we read that part there. Okay, so the traits of a Libra. Libra's sign is the scales, which is fitting as Librans are fascinated by balance and symmetry. As a general rule, Libras are complete flirts. Estrogen, agreeableness, romanticism. They possess an air of intelligence which charms others and makes them enjoyable to be around. Well, the air of intelligence, we haven't talked about that too much, but I mean, IQ isn't really connected purely to astrology. However, the Libras that I've known have all been very intelligent. With their love of balance and order, it also comes from a complete intolerance for chaos and mess. How can you be a peacemaker and be chaotic? I don't think so. Libras are often perfectionists. As they are ruled by the planet Venus, they're like magpies and have an eye for expensive things and beautiful things. Magpies or something. I want to read the Castafiore Emerald right now. Librans are often self-indulgent and have a taste for the finer things in life. And good for them, maybe they can take you shopping or something like that. And it's pretty good to go shopping with somebody who is very good with pair bonding characteristics. Going to go over to the website bustle.com, which is one that I've used in the past on some of these previous Astros, like 400 videos. As I said before, if you want to listen to all of them, that would be really cool. Bustle.com, if your birthday falls between approximately September 23rd and October 22nd, then congrats. That means that your zodiac sign is Libra. But you probably already knew that. These romantic and diplomatic balance seekers can appreciate fairness, and their sign's energy can help us all bring more beauty and justice to our lives. Whether you're a Libra, your crush is, or your partner is, or you just want to learn about the 12 signs of the zodiac, here is a lowdown on everything you need to know about the Libra zodiac traits. Libra is represented by the symbol of the scales, which illustrates their natural ability to weigh both sides of the situation. But the other thing is, though, eventually there will be the sword, and maybe that could represent, how I said, agreeableness, underappreciation, resent, termination. Maybe that's where the sword comes in. This also gives them the reputation for being highly indecisive. Well, you are indecisive if you have to weigh out the options for a long time, but I've already said that. As one of the cardinal signs of the zodiac, they are socially oriented and great at initiating connections and are easy to get along with. Okay, Big Five model. Openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Everything that I've said up to this point has been all about agreeableness. All right, I can comprehend that they are agreeable. All right, I can comprehend the anatomy of love and the estrogen-centered living. But here's something. This sounds like also it's partnered with extroversion, so you have agreeableness and extroversion if you're going to be naturally sociable. And also, with the anatomy of love, many people are high in two components of that. I mean, I'm a male, but I am definitely estrogen centered, dopamine, estrogen. It sounds like here they're saying that there's a little bit of a difference between some guy like me and the conventional Libra, which is, it sounds like they are going to be serotonin, estrogen. Serotonin, once again, talking about getting joy from socially connected experiences. Extroversion, serotonin centered. And it's totally normal to be high in two of the big five personality traits, two of the governing components of brain chemistry. We're not always one dimensional. Now we're getting somewhere, and all of this stuff is really lining up. This is amazing. So, I would also want to just remind us that I read this thing once that there is a connection between the conventional form of happiness and extroversion. Big Five model. Which one leads to happiness? Extroversion. Of course, the more people you're going out and talking to, hey, looking good. Hey, you, nice shirt there. Hey, everybody, life is awesome. And just like that. I mean, that's how extroversion leads to an improvement in the most typical basic definition of happiness. So, I would, there's something to think about here, but it definitely doesn't seem like there's anything in these articles that is indicating that there is any type of discontent or unhappiness associated with being a Libra, other than the fact that there's this romantic connection to October, the fall, right after the summer solstice, so the fall equinox, excuse me, the end of summer and the fall equinox. So this is all matching up with some things that are going to be very emotional, but it seems like this connection is actually somewhat of a more uplifting emotion. Okay, let's keep going here. Some of the most notable qualities about Libra energy is that it focuses on people and has sensitivities to social dynamics. You could take the last 5 minutes of this episode and just put it into that. Some of the most notable qualities about Libra energy are its focus on other people and sensitivity to social dynamics. Bada bing, bada boom. There it is. We're living in a world that is atomized, isolated, and obsessed with individualism. So it's radical that Libra identity is shaped by relationships. Libra-born astrologer Randon Rosenbaum tells Bustle, also are decisive. Libras are decisive? I mean, everything in these articles is trying to say that Libras are decisive, it just takes them a while. Well, there's a little bit of indecision that's going on there. They're just always perfect decisions that take time and investigation. Libra vibes are all about harmony, so they're likely to be the peacemaker or party planner within their squad. Agreeableness, extroversion. That said, Libra energy is deeply concerned with fairness and justice, so that while they don't like to rock the boat, that also means they will stand up for what's right. That's really quite a hard thing to do, because a lot of people encourage you to be less agreeable. And in fact, even if you felt underappreciated in a relationship, maybe it's because you've been too agreeable, and saying that there shouldn't even be this type of balance seeking all the time. And you really see this in the political world when some people are like, we're not trying to just find the middle ground, we're trying to be the opposition. And the reason why is because you're trying to stand up for what you believe in. It's going to be quite difficult. So I don't exactly think that their definition of peacemaking that they're talking about here is going to coincide with anything to do with agreeableness, whereas everything else they have has that, oh yeah, someone's going to be very agreeable, but then they're also going to fight back. Not quite. Someone's going to be a peacemaker, but they're also going to fight back. Um, I mean, like you can be pro peace and fight back. It's just that doesn't mean that you're extremely high in agreeableness. So I would have to disagree with this assessment here, because I think that everything else is pointed toward agreeableness, peacemaking, harmony, like harmonious. How are you going to be harmonious if you're not standing up for what's right? Hey, oh, okay, well, just do that. We're on the same side. Like, I mean, there's good harmony, and then there's like kind of like bad harmony. So, I don't agree with that there. The sign most compatible with Libra, the signs most compatible with Libra are Gemini and Aquarius, as well as the fire signs of Leo and Sagittarius. Leos are going to bring lots of excitement. Geminis are going to be quite similar. They appear indecisive, but they are not. They just don't reveal as much. And Sagittarius is going to promise you the moon, but you might be a little bit deceived. If Libra is your sun sign, then you're a graceful social butterfly with a love for all things beautiful. Extroversion. Libras are artistic, so whenever you express their visual arts, fashion, or just curating a cute apartment interior, it's clear that they will have a firm grip on aesthetics. They sparkle in social settings thanks to their chameleon like ability to get along with just about anyone. Extroversion, serotonin. While your objective of understanding can sometimes be construed as playing both sides, a Libra genuinely sees it as trying to do what's right. Well, just because you see it one way in your mind, it doesn't mean it actually is that way. Being kind to others, but making sure that a quest for harmony doesn't turn into a people pleasing. Okay, boom. Now we're getting somewhere. I mean, this is really good to have this level of clarity because the agreeableness that I've been talking about is mostly about people pleasing, but it's about smoothing the waters, keeping things light and airy, alleviating conflict. And it required a certain medium level of agreeableness to stand up to people who are supposedly creating these problems. So maybe, in conclusion, let's say a Libra is going to be someone who is medium in agreeableness, perhaps even medium high in agreeableness, medium high in extroversion, serotonin, estrogen centered, very thoughtful but very sociable. All of these things coming together. If you want to challenge me on any of these things, you can put your ideas in the comment section down below. One more time, like and subscribe, please. I'm also the host of Black Box Online Radio, a true crime channel here on YouTube. I would invite you to check that one out, and remember, being weird is not a crime. Okay, so that's all for me now, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Until next time.